The Vietnam War was a proxy war between the US and Russia fought during the Cold War. The US took the side of the capitalists in South Vietnam, and the Russians took the side of the communists in North Vietnam. Alfred was born on September 7, 1942, in New Iberia, Louisiana. While going to college at LSU, he was involved with the ROTC. The ROTC provided a college scholarship in exchange for military service. After graduation, he chose to be a commander of an 11-man postal unit. Officer Lewald served for 5.5 months, half of a normal service. I did not have to serve because I had a wife and kids, but I felt like it was my duty. My father and my grandfather served our country, and I wanted to continue our legacy. He only served for half a service because they wanted groups to stay together. Alfred was deployed in Hue, Vietnam, the northernmost port held by the U.S. and Allies. Alfred's scariest experience in the war. The Buddhists were not happy with the war that the U.S. was fighting. In their protest, they had thrown religious altars into the streets. They knew that the U.S. soldiers would not touch them out of respect for their religion. They had essentially created a blockade. Those altars remained in the streets all day and nothing happened. That night, my bunkmates and I awoke to the sound of machine guns. Now, we were not supposed to have guns because there was no fighting where I was deployed, but I knew that my roommate had a contraband Thompson under his bed. Since he was on duty that night, I reached under his bed and I pulled it out. We were terrified. We sat up all night waiting for fighting to come, but nothing ever did. The next morning, we were told that the South Vietnamese army, our allies, had come in and dragged the altars out of the streets. Then they started shooting off their guns to scare anyone that would try to put them back away. After the war, a lot of the other soldiers and I were excited to be back home. We thought that fighting in this war would make us look very good and be great on resumes. However, the Vietnam War turned out to be one of the most unpopular wars in the history of the U.S.